Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Change Book Podcast. I'm Nicole Harbig. I am your host, and we bring you incredible authors. And today is no exception. And I want to tell you just a little bit about our author today. She's a transformational coach. She helps divorced women of faith rebuild confidence and find peace again. And I can't wait to hear about this because I so resonate with what she's doing because I was once one of those women. So welcome, Crystal Shelton. How are you?
Thank you, Nicole. I am doing great. It's early. In Washington, it's raining. So it's nice and chill and relaxed and all good.
Good. I am so glad to hear that because you've got so much to talk about. And I really admire the work you're doing because I know my own divorce, everything started like in 2013. And it's a process, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Well, there's the divorce itself. And that in itself is a process. And then there's the emotional part and the getting through to getting through to the next step of where we really want to be. And then there's the healing. That's actually like even deeper than everything we've already talked about. And the healing makes it so that as we move forward in our lives, that we're actually creating what we want to create rather than staying in a repeating pattern. So I'm curious, have you ever known someone, a man or a woman who's been divorced and they're like, I'm healed, but I keep picking the same person. It's like over and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is such a huge point to talk about because now I've only had one marriage, one divorce, and I knew when I started doing my healing work and I looked back, that's exactly what I was doing. I'm like, each person had the same exact emotions, they had the same exact problems, and I'm like, my gosh, I'm pulling them to me. I'm the one that's bringing them in each and every time.
Yeah.
So I had to do a deep dive. So how do you politely point that out to someone?
Well, it's a learning process, right? Someone gets to be open to seeing that there are possibilities. And once they recognize that there is a pattern, then we can go through and say, all right, so there's one common here, and that's you. Now, I'll tell you where a little bit of my story is I've been divorced twice.
Okay.
Now, I'm not super proud of that. It's not something I like to talk about, but it really helps me to explain where I'm coming from. Because my second marriage was 3.5 years.
Oh,
Which
wow.
is super short, right? And what happened is I basically went from being married to not married to almost married again. And I was in that bucket of, okay, I'm not crying anymore. I'm healed. I'm just over this, right? And now I'm just going to move on. And I didn't take the time to heal. I was young. I didn't know any better. If the crystal today could talk to the crystal then, I'd go like, look, there is more. And what happened is after my second divorce, between me learning about who I am and really coming back to having fun, enjoying my life, then I attracted a man who is my best friend. We've been married almost 11 years now, and it's one of the most beautiful relationships that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm not perfect, and neither is he, but the way that we work together is really amazing. And he has shown me in certain moments, it's like, are you sure you want to do that? Because what you're doing right now is exactly going to lead us down the path that you said you don't want to be on in before.
Wow. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really so neither of you are perfect, but you're perfect for each other, aren't you?
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think that one of the big keys is that we're open to learning and growing.
Mm,
There's so much of this blame, and it's their fault, it's not me. And yet, like we talked about, there's a consistency. I had a really good friend for a long time. She's like, "Oh, I've been married 5 times, and my picker is just broken." And I'm like, "Well, you're
let's
my
have a
friend."
chat.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I kind of feel like you either grasp it or you don't.
Yeah.
Because I know some people, that women that are such narcissists, that I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. It's like, but he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's what are the steps, like from the minute you decide to is there like a path, like divorce, depression,
Oh, yeah.
waking? Can you tell us about that? I'd love to hear that myself.
Sure, you bet. In fact, I have a quiz that I'll be dropping here that kind of helps you to tell where you are in the process. But
Wonderful.
really, the first steps, a- and it's not even at the divorce. It's like as the divorce is coming, as there's this grief, what happens is people tend to go into this crying stage. So
Mm,
it's like emotionally overwhelmed, cry, 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 cry. And I know I did this twice, and
okay.
I'm sure you did some of
Mm,
this.
oh, my eyes were puffy for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what happens is from that, there's the cry, there's the emotional part. And at that point for me, it was like, I would pick up my Bible and I would go to read or pray. And there was this overwhelming guilt of God's mad at me because I wasn't a good wife, because I couldn't make it work again. And there were all these stories that came through that I really got to move through. So the first step is the crying stage.
Mhm.
The second step tends to be the numb stage. Yeah.
Mm,
So
I remember that well, just like it was yesterday. You're
yeah,
on autopilot, right?
exactly. And when the crying stops, it's like the whole of the body, every cell, every emotion, everything is just like, okay, I am spent. It's like a it's like a burnout mode in the emotional state, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
that numbing, at that point, most women go, okay, I'm done crying. I'm going to be strong. And the thing is that when we go into that ultimate strong stage, then we're actually not feeling anything. And a lot of people just skip the crying stage and go straight into the I'm strong stage.
Ooh,
And they wonder, it's like they're so strong. And then their kids will come up and go, Mom, what is wrong with you? What do you mean? I'm strong. I'm not crying anymore. I'm good. And they're like, no, you are just not you.
right. And
And
kids know.
yeah, kids, friends,
Yes.
anybody we know on a regular basis, and even video. I mean, we can pretend, right? We can pretend we're okay for a while. But the people who really know us, they can see that we're either not open or we are. And when we're open, we get to not only give and feel, but that's when God's presence can come in and be a part of our lives. If we're not feeling God there with us, then there's something that we've done to block it off. And a lot
Hmm.
of times that numbing stage just blocks off everything.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and
It's funny that you mentioned the friends too, because when I was going through it, I thought I was healed after a couple years. And I went on vacation with my girlfriends who I'd known since like seventh grade. So we'd been friends forever. And they never said anything during our trip. But I talked to one of my best girlfriends about a year and a half later, and she says, "I knew you'd come back." She goes, "I can hear it in your voice. I knew you'd come back." She goes, "I didn't know when, but I knew we'd get you back." But they held space for me.
Yeah.
They
Which is
held space
really
for me.
important. Yeah. I think a lot of women, when they get, and possibly men too, when they get in the divorce stage, the heartbreak, the hurt, what they tend to do, I think accidentally, is find other people that are in the same state that they're in, and then it becomes an echo chamber. Oh, it's his
Mm,
fault. It's not my fault. It's his fault. And when you hear that over and over, it's like, oh yeah, that's not me. It wasn't me. It was everybody else. So it's really a good thing to be with people who are learning and growing. And you know that old saying of, the five people that you hang around the most is who
yes,
you
yes, I
become
do know
like.
that one. Yes,
Yeah, so if you hang around five other women who are calling their ex a narcissist and angry and frustrated 5 years later, is that who you
right.
want
Right.
to be?
That's so true. And one of the things I want to ask you about, because I went through this in the very, very beginning, is the way I found out was my youngest daughter's iPod Touch was synced with her dad's iPhone. So she got a lot of the messages. So both my kids knew what was going on. And all I can remember is being so embarrassed and so shamed that that happened to me. I was like, everything's on lockdown. Don't tell anybody. Don't mention it. I didn't tell my mom. I mean, it was like this secret that I kept because I was so ashamed. Is that a reaction? Is that a normal reaction or
Oh yeah. Oh
okay?
yeah. Because as women, we have this the story that we are supposed to hold things together. We are the ones that are responsible for the kids. We're responsible for the marriage turning out, and I see this in a lot of women of I was the good wife. I did all the things. I made sure everybody had dinner. I made sure all the kids were taken care of and they were taken to all their events. And I made sure he had dinner and lunch and, all the things. But then he cheated on her. And it's like, well, there's something that was missing there. Whether it was, well, now there are men that will just do that anyway. In
True.
my experience, if men they seem to be fairly, I don't want to say simple creatures, but there are certain things that are really important to them. And if they get those, then usually they will just like keep going. And maybe it's just my pick or pick those, but that's been my experience. And so there's something that sometimes gets missing that I think we do accidentally. Like I have a thing that I call the too nice syndrome.
Oh,
Now,
do tell.
and see, I was stuck in this for many long years. And I feel like I was in my first two marriages. I was very nice. I call it nice, as in I didn't have boundaries. I was young. I didn't know what to do. I'm married. My parents were not great. They weren't a great representation of what a really healthy marriage is. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
And so I didn't know. I just thought, oh, well, I'm supposed to do everything for everybody. So it'd be like, okay, well, Crystal, where do you want to go to eat? I don't care. Wherever you want to go is fine. You know? And it would be, okay, well, the house needs to be clean. Okay, I'll go clean it. The toilet needs to be clean. Okay, I'll go clean it. Here's dinner for you. I'll dish it up to make you happy, right? I'll dish it up and I'll give it to you, and now you're going to be happy, right? And that wasn't it, because
Hmm.
their personalities are very strong, and we have a strong personality in a man, or a strong personality in a woman. They tend to be attracted to that opposite. Well, me, I was a really good doormat at the time.
Oh, yeah.
It was really easy to walk all over me, and I didn't even know. It was just like, "Oh, well, this is who I am." Well, what happens is that that strong behavior will then accelerate because you don't get the same reaction. The first time it could be, "All right, I'm gonna get snappy at her to see if she goes and does the dishes real quick." Well, then it becomes, "Oh, well, that doesn't work anymore. Okay, now I'll get a little bit more animated, a little bit louder." And then it becomes yelling. And the next thing you know is it transforms, and that behavior then goes into from us as the wife to the kids, and it bleeds on as we move along. So like you said, it's a um, really delicate story in a situation, because once we have our own boundaries and strength within ourselves, then we can dance with that and go, "Okay, I see what you're doing. I see what's happening. And yes, I do have an opinion. And yes, I'm still important. And yes, you get to be a part of this relationship too." And as that happens, now it can't be all at once, because if it's all at once, then it's like, "Oh, wait, what just happened?
Slow down.
My nice wife is gone. What's going on?" Right? And so it's got to be an incremental shift of like, "Oh," and then what happens is they respect us, and the abuse doesn't continue. Now, me, I created 2 abusive marriages.
Were yours physical or verbal? I'm just curious. Or both?
Mine were both verbal.
Okay.
My dad was verbally abusive when I was a kid towards my mom, and so I learned that behavior and assumed that that was the way it was supposed to be. And
You know,
so I
it's so interesting that you said that because as I reflected back and looked at all my choices, it went right back to my dad.
Yeah, my dad, my mom, the way that she reacted to my dad was exactly how I reacted to my husband's. Now that's
Wow.
not how I act now. Now I
Mhm.
have boundaries, and now me would go, "Jeez, Crystal, are you kidding me?"
What the heck? Oh my god. No, I totally resonate with your story for sure. I mean, you know, like you said, there's certain steps, and I think a lot of us go through similar
Yeah,
steps. And so that you went through it, you know it. You recognize it. You realize it's something that, has to be taken care of. And I know in your bio you talked about helping your clients release emotional pain. Can you
yes,
tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. What I can do is I help walk them through a process that takes the pain and whatever emotion that they are experiencing in a roller coaster. I take them through a process. It's called the peace process.
Mhm.
And literally, what happens is um, these emotions, these traumas get stuck in our body.
Right.
And what I do is I help them to release it from our body and actually bring peace to it. And when the peace comes, then it's like it's no longer there anymore. No, we
Mhm.
can't completely bypass it. It's like, "Oh, I was divorced yesterday, and now I'm taking this and bringing peace, and okay, days later, I'm done." There's more to the process. But for instance, with anxiety or stress, or um, stories of "I'm not good enough," or "I
Mhm.
can't excel," or "I'm supposed to be this person," we can shift all of that through these peace processes. And
Gotcha.
yeah, and it's a beautiful, easy, you don't have to talk about it 1,000 times. You don't have to cry about it 1,000 times. When we go, I've been through talk therapy, and let's just say talking about it over and over and over, and each time being emotionally raw, just didn't do it.
No, and that's so true because I went to so many groups and psychologists and people that you're supposed to go to. And it's like all I'm doing is reliving it. I'm reliving it over and over and over. And a lot of those women's groups were very angry. And it's like, no, I don't, I have been angry. I want to release the anger. I don't want to carry that anymore, so much that I was getting physically sick, like losing my hair and scratching my skin until I bled.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want it gone.
Yeah.
So have you come across that as well in your coaching?
Oh, absolutely. And it's heartbreaking, really, because we are being taught through our societal norms that this is normal. The time heals. Well, time doesn't really heal. Time
Mhm.
doesn't heal all by itself. It's like planting a bunch of seeds in the garden and then don't water it, you know? So
Right.
it doesn't get any water, it doesn't get it. Time itself doesn't grow the garden, but what we do with the time is what makes us heal, right? So what happens is a lot of women, when they get into that echo chamber of it's not me, it's everyone else, then there becomes a what's it called? I think the word is called a rancor. Rancor. It's
Rancor, I've not heard of that.
it's an emotional state of extreme
Oh,
long-term bitterness.
ooh.
Yeah. And I've known some of these women and I'm seeing them and it's like, all right, I understand that you are in this state and you've taken the cycle that you've been in and you just have repeated it. And as that continues, then it accelerates. So
Mhm.
much like the abusive cycle we were talking about, when we get into that self-repeating pattern of it's not me, it's everybody else, and then it continues on through our minds and our hearts, then it just keeps continuing and keeps accelerating and gets bigger and stronger and angrier and more frustrated. That's not
Wow.
healing.
No, not at all. Now, do you bring forgiveness into all of that? Forgiveness for self and forgiveness for,
Yes.
yeah,
Forgiveness is one of the first steps,
okay.
which is interesting to a lot of women because they don't feel like they have a need to forgive anybody. And
I've run into that as well. And it was one of my last steps because I didn't
yeah,
recognize it. So
yeah.
how do you, when it's still a little bit raw, how do you bring up the topic of forgiveness? Because people I've met, they're like, mm-mm, not doing it, not doing it. So,
The thing is, what I do is I talk about what they want. And if they don't want to be, if they don't want to forgive, that's okay. But what they get to start off with is forgiving themselves. Because forgiveness is not about the other person.
right,
Forgiveness is about me. So if I forgive the the man who has abused me for years, that is something that he doesn't need to know about that. You know, he
right.
doesn't it's not anything having to do with him or like he doesn't deserve my forgiveness, right? I mean, I've heard that over and over and it's like, okay, and that is getting stuck in you. And then
So
people tend
true.
to, yeah, women get sick and overloaded and symptoms like you were talking about with your hair because that's stress. And that is stress that gets stuck in the body, which then takes our little cells in our body and it gets them all
Mhm.
disfigured and they don't work like they're supposed to.
Wow.
And when we bring peace to that, all of it goes away. So I can talk someone through a process, the peace process that I was talking about, and that bitterness will just kind of evaporate and relax.
And it's the most wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I when I figured out forgiveness was what I was missing, I started with myself because I was really angry at me for like not using my voice, and being walked on, stepped on, demeaned. And I'm like, that was not who you were. Why did you not say anything? And you
Yeah.
kind of justify, well, I have 2 girls watching and I don't want to, have a household that's angry. I
Hmm.
was so mad at me, Crystal.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Nicole, it's something that we all go through. We all go through this and we all see this. But it's
Yeah.
later on, you know, when we go through the denial stage, we don't even know what's wrong. What happened to me?
Yeah.
What happened in my marriage? And have you ever done the little blind spot? Um, there's an exercise called the blind spot. When we get
No, I've
them,
not heard of that.
look it up. Every one of
Okay.
us has a blind spot. And what you do is you kind of take I don't have the right size of thing. You take a piece of paper and you put a little dot on it. And when you do it the right way, you can see that the dot's there, but you can't see it.
Wow.
And that's why we get to have a coach or a therapist who understands how to release the emotions. So as I
Right.
talk with new women, those are the things that are really important. It's like if the therapist is only talk therapy, then you get to regurgitate that a lot
Wow. That's
and maybe
awesome.
for years.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But the blind spot, I love that. Never heard of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I am going to look it up. And Crystal, I know we're almost at the end here, but I do want you to tell the audience about your signature program, Faith Fully Whole Again.
Faithfully whole again.
Faithfully Whole Again. Okay.
Yes. Yes. In 4 to 6 months, you will go from being in the stage of scared and anxious to, depending on your moving forward, your openness to really tackling all the internal stuff, within 6 months you are not only recognizing what's happening, you've let go of all the angerness, the bitterness, you have stepped into your peace, stepped into joy, and your connection with God is even stronger than it's ever been before. And you trust, you love, and you feel. And if you think about going into another relationship, your pattern will be broken and you get to start anew.
Wow, that's amazing. And with our few minutes left, give us some nuggets. Can you, kind of put it in a nutshell? What's most important for your clients?
The most important thing, really, is to recognize that it all starts with you.
Ooh,
Everything that we are creating in our lives, it all starts with me. And it's as we are the creators in our families, we give birth, we take care of our kids, but we are also the creators in our own lives. And it starts with mindset, which I know you're all about. It starts with feeling good. It starts with changing the cells in our bodies. And much like you said, it starts with forgiveness and a recognizing that we can make a difference. Holding on to the anger and frustration, it just stays in anger and frustration.
never
Yeah.
leaves. Never leaves. It's just like it's got its claws in you.
Yeah, bringing your peace, and that I can help you do.
Wow. What an amazing story. And I love it because I so resonate with everything you've said. I mean, like everything. And I want to tell the audience that I have links that are in the description of this podcast. I think if someone is having problems, issues, or just has questions, please reach out to Crystal. By talking to her, I'm hearing so many positive things that I wish I would have had when I started that journey. So, Crystal, thank you so much for being here. We've waited a long time for you, and I'm so glad you're finally here.
Thank you,
You were
Nicole.
worth the wait, my girl. You were worth
I'm
the
so
wait.
honored
So,
to be here.
everybody, oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So to everyone, look up this wonderful lady, reach out to her. From what I'm hearing today, you are absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad to have you on this podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.